Welcome, everybody. This is indeed Elevate Your Professional Footprint, LinkedIn Masterclass. I've either had too much coffee or not enough. It's like always hard to tell. Anyway, my name is Kathie Clark. I am the VP of Operations for Rhythmic Technologies. Short answer is if it's not service delivery or finance, it reports to me. So I want to take you back to 2018, and we didn't have the pandemic yet. We had no idea what that was. We were still saying really stupid things about cloud, like it's someone else's data center. And that's where my LinkedIn story begins. So I know some of you might think like, oh, LinkedIn, that's for salespeople. That's for cringe content, right? But I'm here to tell you LinkedIn is for you. And I kind of thought the same thing as you about 6 years ago, but I'm going to share my story and hopefully you'll see why that is wrong thinking. All right. So I was out there on LinkedIn just sort of sharing things. I wasn't even in tech yet. And it felt like I was just talking into the void. And like, is anyone even paying attention to my drivel? And then somebody started connecting with my content and having like these really great conversations. And we built a whole relationship just on LinkedIn. And it completely changed my career trajectory. That person was my now boss, Chris Daniluk. And it all happened just because we had a mutual connection. And because of that person liked or commented on my stuff, and he saw it. And, 6 years later, here I am working for him in a capacity I never thought was possible. So that really, it wasn't a fluke. That's exactly how LinkedIn is supposed to work. So I'm going to give you some of the insight tips of how that happens. So why should you care? Everyone in this room has a great knowledge set. Hopefully there's some Harry Potter fans here. This is my attempt at an invisibility cloak. So invisibility cloaks are great, just for life, but not so much for your career and for your expertise, right? So you're often working in code and technical discussions, but career advancement really depends on visibility. And that's both inside your organization and externally to the ecosystem as a whole. So the other thing is your hiring managers are on there, right? There's CTOs, COOs, everybody's kind of in career mode. And the big secret to me is that there aren't a lot of technical voices on LinkedIn. It is a lot of salespeople and other types of professions. So the opportunity is absolutely there. And your voice is really going to stand out by putting out that content. So LinkedIn has 135 million daily users. I forget the number of actual registered people, some crazy number, like double or triple that. But they're in problem solving mode. They're going there to learn. They're going there to further their career. This isn't Instagram. They don't have all these distractions. So you've got people really in the mindset that you want them to be in. And so when you share your technical insights, they want to learn from you. You guys are here learning from your peers, and this is the online version of that. And like I said, there's significantly less competition for technical voices. But the thing I really, really want to point out in this slide is the upper left. The algorithm is eminently hackable. So I'm going to tell you the steps that the algorithm takes. How many of you have posted and you're like, nothing's happening with this? I don't know why I'm wasting my time. Anybody? Yeah, you're like, it's just going out in the ether. What am I doing wrong? All right. So first I'm going to talk about some content ideas for you. Anything that's a technical concept that you can make accessible to people. If you're all in the keynote, how Brooke took this into this very relatable, cats and hats and image recognition, right? Lessons that you learn from projects. One that goes over really well is certification, right? Everybody's super happy when you get a new cert and sharing maybe studying strategies or timelines. And then just in general, your career and learning journey. So first, before I get into the algorithm, I want to talk about how these strategic relationships happen. And it's about quality over quantity, but it's also consistency. So what people have this tendency to do is they'll post once and they'll go, oh, well, that went nowhere, right? Like, I'm done, I'm out. It's really just about, I would say it's like a train at a station. You really have to like give it some juice and be consistent about it and engage with people before you connect is a big secret. So rather than just sending out some blind connection request, like have a little patience, take a beat, and just start engaging with somebody's content. If there's a place you want to work, find the hiring manager. Just start commenting on what they're putting out there. Keep in mind that your mutual connections amplify the reach. So that's why you really have to, in addition to posting, you've got to be connecting with people and engaging with other people's content. And then just making sure you're adding to relationships before you make an ask, right? So don't connect with someone and say, hey, do you have any open jobs there? Or, hey, I think our company should do business together, right? I'm skirting the line of appropriate behavior, but I always call that being an asshole. So like, don't be an asshole. Profile strategy. So I know this is kind of an eye chart here, but basically don't just put your title out there. It needs to be something you're looking for connection points, right? Like what does somebody see in you that they go, oh, we have that in common. Yes, I want to connect with that person, right? So this is mine. You'll see under my title, I don't even have what I do for a living, right? It's that I'm a user group leader. I do cloud and marketing musings, and I'm a frustrated Cleveland sports fan. And it's a little something for everybody, right? So hopefully somebody sees something in that when we connect. And then underneath you have the opportunity. This should be a story, right? This should not regurgitate your resume. This is what are you all about? So in the beginning, I've got the like corporate blah, 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 right? Here's why I'm qualified. And then in my professional passions, this is all about community. So someone reading my profile will know right away, like community's her jam. And then again, in the bottom, give them a little something personal to connect with. So, here, sports fan, photographer, Gen AI enthusiast, and mom to 3 grown children and 3 unruly cats, which are now going to have hats, thanks to Brooke, because I am so going to make that app. All right, so the algorithm. The first thing that's going to happen is like a code review, right? So you're going to put that post out. It's going to look for professionalism. So if it's part of your brand to swear a lot, you're not going to get the amplification. But that might be just like how you talk, and that's fine. It's not like illegal on LinkedIn or anything like that. But once it passes that first check, it's going to move on to step 2. And the first 90 minutes are absolutely critical. So it's looking for who's engaging with your content. And it's basically sampling the data and saying, are these people engaging? All right, cool. I'm going to show it to more people. And then if it sees the engagement signals, it's going to go to more people. So a few strategies here. Who uses Slack? I know some of you are lying. Come on, everybody uses Slack. All right. So a good way to get around this is like Slack your coworkers and say, hey, here's a link to my post. Can you just go engage with it right now? Even if they just give a like, even though that's the lowest signal to LinkedIn. Next is going to be the engagement scoring, which is what it's doing with that engagement. So shares is like the ultimate, 10,000 brownie points. When someone does that, especially if they add their own comments, it's telling the algorithm, hey, this is really valuable information. More people want to see it. Next is comments. So try to get your coworkers, friends to comment on that post. And last is likes. So it's just such an easy kind of throwaway engagement metric. But it's better than none, right? And the last is the editorial priority. So, when you log into LinkedIn, the right-hand side, you'll see like the news feed. So if you comment about something that's in their editorial calendar, so they're really trying to push those stories. So just, when you're logging in, keep an eye on that. See if there's anything interesting, like, Anthropic, a couple weeks ago, we were talking about it earlier, launched Opus 4, which is unbelievable if you haven't played with it. So try to comment on those things. All right, so 30-day game plan. Does anybody know why I use this graphic? Let's see if we're paying attention. Everyone's like, just give me lunch. It's 12:15. Sports, right? Because terrible Cleveland sports. They are, well, I mean, yeah, the Browns still suck. And they're my first love, so yeah. All right. So here's going to be your 30-day plan. All right, first thing, don't even worry about posting. Just optimize your profile, right? Like if you haven't looked at it in a long time, go in, think about that headline, that story portion. Fun fact, use Claude. I find it to be just the best when it comes to words. Sometimes I'll go into Claude and say like, I need to write a bio for myself. Can you ask me questions and then write it for me? Or just feed it something you have and say, I'd like this to be more this way or that way, right? And then I want you to start engaging with other people's stuff. All right, week 2, share your first technical insight and start connecting with a couple of people. You're going to do your first one at the end of this, by the way. Next week, I want you to start posting consistently, joining other people's conversations, right? If you work for a company, engage with that content. The marketing people are going to love you. Also, your leadership notices when you do that, by the way. The next one, I want you to do some value first outreach. So again, you're not being an asshole, right? Share other people's content and give your opinion on it. You could be spicy about it. Maybe you're like, I totally disagree with this. And the next one, I want you to plan some ongoing themes. And that's where people usually go, scary. So this is all you have to do. So I want you to think about how many days a week are reasonable for you to post. As far as the algorithm goes, the sweet spot's about 3. LinkedIn, you want to post only every 24 hours, no more. And more is not better, actually. And then, so you've got your 2-3 days a week you're going to post. And then I want you to come up with 2 themes, maybe 3, that are around your work life, right? And then maybe 1 or 2 personal things. So for me, it's usually community, right? So it's really pretty simple. And I've got like a little chart. If anybody wants to see that, I can email that to you. All right. So this could be your career-changing opportunity, right? Like I could have never foreseen being in tech, being a VP, running 5 different departments 6 years ago. And, you know, 1 post changed it all. You never know when that moment's going to happen. And just know that your expertise matters. You know, I run a couple of user groups that I have one that there's 100 people in it. It's for partners. And maybe 10, 20 people engage on a regular basis. And I was actually ready to shut it down. And I had someone call me and they're like, I read everything that you put in there. So just because people aren't engaging with you doesn't mean that they're not valuing your content. So just keep it up. And remember to be authentic in this, right? Like don't feel like you have to be super buttoned up or put on a different personality. Like just be you on there. All right, so your goal, I want 1 post about a technical insight, 1 meaningful comment on industry content. And this is a hint, maybe, I don't know, Midwest Community Day with a hashtag would be kind of cool, or hashtag AWS Community. 1 strategic connection request. And then just remember that your LinkedIn story starts now. But I am going to give you 1 more task before you go. That's me. It's not any sort of like spyware or anything gross, I promise. Do that. Make sure you click the 3 dots in there and connect. Otherwise, you're just going to follow me and we won't actually be connected.